Baron Corbin tries to find himself. Tony D gets freed from prison in the Judgment Day Takeover NXT. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Wrestling. It was a 2 hours of action-packed NXT. Here to review it. And NXT, once again, proving that it is better than Monday Night Raw. It might be the development brand, it might be the third brand, whatever, but it's certainly better quality than the red brand. Monday Night Raw, absolutely garbage to watch, but I can't say the same about NXT. It was pretty fun show tonight, pretty enjoyable show tonight, and you know what, I'm actually digging Baron Corbin. Can't believe I'm saying this, but I think ever since the brand split, I think him become the free agent, and I buried it a lot at the time. My dad, I said, this is dumb. I think it's the best thing that's happened to him, because he's been able to have this freedom. He's been on different shows, he's been feuding with different people, he's been able to just pick and choose where he goes, and it's kind of worked for him. Although I do think he's done his best work on NXT, and I did originally say when the brand split happened, the people that they made free agents, why didn't they just make them NXT wrestlers and demote them to NXT? That's what I would have done, rather than allow them to appear on all three brands. I don't think that's fair. I don't think logically that makes sense. So because you're not good enough to get drafted, you've got the freedom to go on whatever show you want. Logically, it doesn't make sense. Not being drafted should be seen as a punishment, whereas this isn't really a punishment for Corbin, Mustafa Ali and those guys, because they've got the ability to pick and choose whether they want to be on Monday nights, Tuesday nights or Friday nights. But anyway, I think Baron Corbin's definitely doing his best stuff on Tuesday nights, and I would keep him there. But we'll cover Baron Corbin a bit more when we actually get to him. So we kick off the show with the Judgment Day. They're here to take over NXT. Dominic, Dirty Dom, wants to speak, but of course he's not allowed to speak. The crowd will not allow Dirty Dom to speak, and the guy gets reactions. It's crazy, you know, in a time period where wrestling is pretty much dead and nobody really gets crowd reactions anymore. Dominic Mysterio gets them, and it's strange. Some people are just good at getting fucking booed. Look at Vicky Guerrero. You know, she wasn't this great personality. She wasn't this great character. She wasn't this great mic talker. There was nothing really great about Vicky Guerrero, but when she came out and said, excuse me, it got the whole audience booing her. It got the whole audience hating her. And Dominic kind of has that vibe. He doesn't even need to say anything. All he needs to do is grab the mic, and all of a sudden the fans are booing. The fans don't want him to speak, but it wasn't only the fans that didn't want him to speak. Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes make their way to the ring. They interrupt the Judgment Day. They remind them that on Tuesday nights, it's Trick and Melo that run the show. But Judgment Day bring up the point that they only run the show on Tuesdays because the Judgment Day aren't there. And it basically comes down to a little bit of a stare down. Balor says that he is on the NXT Mount Rushmore. Hayes says that Balor's on the NXT Mount Rushmore, but now the NXT is full of Trick and Melo. Is it really? I guess we'll find out. I guess we're going to find out who really does run NXT tonight, because we're getting a tag team match. It's going to be Trick and Melo versus Priest and Finn Balor tonight. So there you go. Big tag team match. Judgment Day. They were successful on Monday Night Raw. Will they be successful tonight? Plus, we also seen Finn Balor defeat Carmelo Hayes on Raw a few weeks ago as well. So the Judgment Day certainly have the number of Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. We then get a split screen interview with Tony D'Angelo. He's still in jail. They're having a match tonight. It's going to be Stacks versus Joe Coffrey. And if Stacks wins, Tony D will get released from jail, all charges dropped, and the family will receive a shot at the tag team champions. But if Stack loses, then Tony will stay in jail until his trial is over. Tony says that he's in Stacks' mercy, but he's not worried because he thinks that Stacks is loyal, even though everyone else believes that Stacks has turned on Tony. He's going to turn Tony in. He's going to side with Gallus. Will that happen tonight? I guess we will see. Although Tony does say that Stacks has changed and he hasn't been visiting as much as lately, and you begin to see a little bit of doubt in Tony D. And does he really believe in Stacks as much as he thought he did? I guess we'll find out later. Up next, I've got Andre Chase and Duke Hudson. for the academy, the university, Chase U versus Charlie Dempsey and Drew Gulak. Two fucking guys that will never make it in wrestling. Just look at these two, Charlie Dempsey, Drew Gulak, come out in their little fucking phony tights. Just do not look like professional wrestlers, do not look like stars, look like two indie bums. They look like two guys that should have stayed on NXT UK. They're never going to be world champions. They're never going to do anything. Who likes this style of wrestling? Who likes wrestlers that look like these? Just look at them. Really average looking fucking bodies, wearing like their tighty whities, looking like fucking Walter White. I mean, what is this? Charlie Dempsey and Drew Gulak both fucking suck, and they lose the match thanks to Thea Hale on the outside. She locked in the armbar on Charlie Dempsey. The referee didn't call for a DQ. No idea why. She's allowed to attack a legal participant in the match and doesn't get DQ'd. A bit strange. I mean, we can argue the referee didn't see it, but again, I think it's just more, it's because it was a female and a male, it was allowed to happen, because WWE sort of has that, you know, that bullshit where it's like a woman can do anything to a man, but a man can't respond in any way, shape or form. You know what? If Charlie Dempsey had thrown off Thea Hale, he probably would have got his team DQ'd in this match. That's what happens. But anyway, it's a win for Chase U. Big win. And yeah, they are victorious. We then move on. We got up next. It was Braun Breaker backstage. He says he's got words for Eli Dragunov. Braun says that he's been a champion. He's going to be a champion again. Braun says that Eli's great, but he's not going to win at Braun's expense, and that is pretty much it. We then got Kalani Jordan versus Cora Jade, throwaway match. We had Dana Brooke at ringside. Why don't they just do Dana Brooke versus Cora Jade already? Like, what are we waiting for? Cora Jade, after the match, is trying to hit Kalani Jordan with her Singapore cane, but then to the rescue, in comes Dana Brooke, and she hits a drop kick on Cora Jade, and Cora Jade then flees, and Dana Brooke celebrates with Kalani Jordan, even though she lost the match. So yeah, she lost the match, but celebrates anyway. Fair play. Filler match, just didn't really see the point in this. I just don't understand why they're doing Cora Jade versus Dana Brooke, but it appears that they are doing it, so why not just get it over and done with? I guess it's going to happen at the Great American Bash, but yeah, not really a fan. I do like what Corbin's done on NXT, but that doesn't mean I think everybody that's a bum on the main roster should come on NXT, and for me, Dana Brooke certainly fits that category. She's a bum, and I don't want to see her on NXT. And anyway, up next, we got the number one contender match, Braun Breaker versus Eli Dragunov. Winner of this does challenge Carmelo Hayes at the Great American Bash on July 30th, so we've still got, what, 3 weeks to go, really, until that pay-per-view. Still quite a long way away. Braun Breaker hit a really big spear in this match, almost snapped Dragunov in half, but Dragunov somehow recovered. He got back on top of things, and he hits the big running elbow to the back of the head for the win, and your new number one contender, Eli Dragunov. It's going to be Dragunov then versus Carmelo Hayes at the Great American Bash, and honestly, what are they doing with Braun Breaker? Surely now with this defeat, Braun Breaker is going to get called up to the main roster, but it doesn't make any sense to me. Why not call him up when he was winning? Why not call him up when he had momentum? Since the Stand and Deliver pay-per-view, he's been on a losing streak. He's lost to Carmelo Hayes, he's lost to Seth Rollins, now he's lost to Eli Dragunov. It's like, surely you would want this guy coming to the main roster with a winning streak, looking dominant. Now he's going to the main roster looking like a bit of a bitch, if I'm being honest, but I've got to assume that he is heading to Raw or SmackDown because he's done everything in NXT. But the question remains, why not move him in the draft? It makes no sense, guys. But anyway, let's move on. What does make sense? Up next with Wesley, cutting a promo backstage. Dirty Dom interrupts him. Dirty Dom's like, I hear you're the guy that hands out these open challenges. Then Wesley sounded very strange here. He's like, oh, I used to do that. I don't do it anymore because things got crazy. Then Dirty Dom's like, yeah, I'm sure you don't. You know, you just don't want to give me one of those shots. Then Wesley's like, well, no, if you want to get crazy, let's go and do it right now. Dirty Dom's like, nah, I'm not ready right now. How about next week? So next week we're going to get Dirty Dom, Dominic Mysterio versus Carmelo Hayes for the NXT North American Championship. And you know what? I would actually give it to Dominic Mysterio. I would give him the belt. This Carmelo Hayes run, not Carmelo Hayes, this Wesley run is boring me. I don't think it's that good, and I would give Dominic Mysterio the belt. Especially if they do want to have more focus, more stars from Raw and SmackDown on NXT to try and boost the ratings up, then why not just stick the Dominic Mysterio with the belt, and then that means it gives the Judgment Day a reason to appear more often on Tuesday nights, because the brand split's done already. I said when the brand split happened, guys, it wouldn't last, and look at it, ever since the brand split happened a couple of months ago, how many people have we seen just constantly appear on other brands? You know, it's dumb. So I'm not bothered about it anymore. If they want Judgment Day to appear on NXT, then so be it. You know what? Better for us, I guess. You know, it's what it is. I mean, they're never going to do the brand split legit, so I'm not that bored. You know, at the start they say it's going to be real this time, that there's going to be a strict split, and you kind of get annoyed when they do put people on all their shows. But after a couple of weeks, you're like, you know what? Who cares? If you want to stick the entire Raw roster on NXT, then so be it. Then up next we got Tiffany Stratton versus Ivy Neal. Just a random match, really. Don't know what the point of this was, but Ivy Neal loses, as she should, to the champion. Very nice moonsault. I mean, she does have one of the best moonsaults in wrestling. Definitely better than Charlotte Flair's, although pretty hard to compare because Charlotte Flair's is to a standing opponent normally, whereas Tiffany Stratton does hers to a grounded opponent. But still, I'll remain on the side that Tiffany Stratton definitely does a better moonsault. And even the way she jumps up, you know, she calls it the prettiest moonsault ever. I think she calls it the prettiest moonsault ever. It is a pretty moonsault, no doubt about it. So, yeah, fair play. She wins. She beats Ivy Neal, but Chase U section and the fans, Chase U, the students in the crowd, they're chanting, "You tapped out, you tapped out." Stratton yells back about how she beat Hale fair and square. She says that she never tapped out. Stratton then screams for the fans to leave her alone. And Stratton's music starts back up as she leaves the ring. And, I mean, I guess they'll try to go for the Chris Benoit, Brock Lesnar, "you tapped out" whole thing, where Brock did tap out and the fans did not let him forget it. Maybe that's what they're going for here. So we'll see. I'm assuming we're going to get a rematch between Hale and Tiffany Stratton, because backstage we see Andre Chase celebrate with Thea Hale. He talks about that submission that she learned. She says she learned it from Charlie Dempsey and Drew Gulak. They both suck, but at least they teach her a good submission. And Andrew Chase says that she should get a rematch against Tiffany Stratton because she has made her tap out. And then they all chant, "Rematch, rematch, rematch." I mean, it was a pretty good segment, and I'm glad to see Andrew Chase back because Chase U wasn't the same without him. But then we get the big match. It's Stacks versus Joe Coffey. The match starts out with each guy trading holds. They're not really going at it. It appears there's some sort of deal done here. They then share a little word. This is the time for Stacks to go down. Gets hit with a very phony clothesline. Coffey goes for the cover. 1, 2. Not a 3. Stacks kicks out, starts shaking his head, says, "I can't do this. I'm not betraying Tony D." Then, speaking of Tony D, we get a phone call from the prison. You hear like the automatic prepay. "This is a pre-call from Tony D from the prison." And then Tony D starts shouting at Gallas. He's laughing at them for believing that Stacks would betray him, and he's telling him, "Come on, Stacks, you need to win this, you need to get me free." Stacks then fires up like Hulk Hogan style, starts battering Gallas. We get Wolfgang getting rejected. 2 new guys come out and help Stacks. It's not, I think, not new, but there's 2 guys, I can't remember their names. They come out and help Stacks, and then Stacks hits the cement foot on Coffey and gets the 1, 2, 3. So Stacks with a big win, and he frees Tony D from prison at the same time. Really fun, really good. Actually, legit stories here, legit things happening, storylines, creativeness. I mean, how can you not like this? I thought it was very, very entertaining. Gallas obviously fell for it. Stacks was never going to betray Tony D. Now Stacks has freed Tony D, and he's also earned them a shot at the titles. I believe the 2 guys that came out were Bronco Nima and Lucien Price. I believe they debuted a couple weeks ago. I don't think they're going to be joining the family. I think they just wanted to try and make their intentions known and maybe say to Gallas that they've got an eye on those tag team belts. Possibly that is what they wanted, but Stacks has won the match. He's yelling now, "Tony D is coming home." We'll see him soon, and possibly we'll see that tag team title match at the Great American Bash. Then we got the Schism backstage with Ivy Neal, basically telling them that they should join. She should join the Schism because the Schism are getting stronger. The Schism then walk off, and we see 2 people in the Schism with masks on that look very similar to the Creed brothers in terms of their physique and stature. And it's like, I thought the Creed brothers were supposed to leave NXT. I get it that they're dressed as the Schism, but I thought they were going to head to the main roster, so it's interesting why they're still here. We then got Los Lavarios hitting on two Latina chicks. Not much to see here. Nathan Fraser comes out and tells them to back off, along with Dragon Lee. And then, guys, main event time, Judgment Day versus the champion Carmelo Hayes and his tag team partner, Mr. Trick Williams. And the main event was pretty good. You know, these two teams going at it, leaving it all on the line. Very good main event from NXT. I actually like the Judgment Day. I think the Judgment Day are okay. At the start, I was thinking, you know what, this group sucks. This group's not going to be the same without Edge. But, you know what, they are growing on me. I do think, I like Dominic and I like Priest. They're my two favourite members. But I mean, overall, it's not the worst thing in wrestling. I mean, the Judgment Day are okay. They end up winning the match. We had Eli Dragunov come out to try and make a save, but all he really did, I guess, was distract Carmelo Hayes. And Carmelo Hayes then loses the match thanks to the double foot stomp, the coup de grace from Finn Balor off the top rope. There's also a spot where Priest powerbombed Trick Williams through the announce table, and like he landed basically on the edge of the announce table, and it looked pretty dodgy, man. It didn't look good for Trick Williams. I mean, his back, the table just didn't even give. It didn't break. It didn't do nothing. The only thing that broke was Trick Williams. His body banged off the table, and the table certainly won that one. So yeah, the Judgment Day are victorious. Judgment Day standing tall, crowd are booing, and that's what we've seen, guys. 24 hours we've seen the Judgment Day stand tall on Raw. Now they're standing tall on NXT. It looks like the Judgment Day runs WWE as of right now. But in terms of the rating for the show, guys, enjoyable show. It was fun. Oh, how could I forget about the Baron Corbin? Forget about that. We had Baron Corbin. Basically, he's trying to find himself. He's like, I don't know who I was in the past, but it wasn't me. I was faking this persona. I have nothing in common with any of these guys. And then we see flashbacks of all Baron Corbin's previous like characters and personalities. It shows you him burning all his previous attires. He's putting them in flames. He can't sleep. He goes for a drive. He's like, I need to find myself. I need to know who I am. Who is Baron Corbin? He then arrives in like some sort of field, and there's like a couple of hooded figures with like torches. Like I've got like fire torches, and the flames are burning, and Baron Corbin staring into the flames. And that was basically that for Baron Corbin. But he's trying to find himself. No idea why he's out in the middle of the field at like 3 a.m. trying to find himself. Like, what's he trying to find? It's pretty strange. But you know what? I like Baron Corbin. He's grown on me certainly over the past couple of months. So yeah, guys, that was NXT. I thought the Stacks thing was really good. How they had Tony D called for prison. I'm glad they didn't have Stacks turn on Tony D, because I believe the Tony D family thing, there's definitely legs in that. I think they can add more members. I think that can be the next big faction in WWE, the next big prominent, successful faction. So I'm glad that Stacks has not betrayed Tony D. Hopefully they do win the tag team titles, or at least Tony D can get some sort of singles gold around his waist. And yeah, guys, that is it. That is it for your NXT. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. I thought it was an okay show. Pretty decent. So yeah, no complaints. Really like the Stacks thing. Baron Corbin promo was pretty good. The two big matches that were Braun Breaker versus Eli Dragunov in the main event, both solid. I mean, good matches, fun matches, big moves, all this stuff. So yeah, no, it was a decent show. It was a lot better than Raw, man. Watching Raw is fucking horrible. At least you watch NXT and SmackDown. It's definitely more enjoyable, and you get more stuff happening. It's just more fun than watching the Red Brand, man. The Red Brand absolutely sucks. So that's it. I'm getting a 4 out of 10. Let me know what you guys think down below. I'll catch you in the next one. That's it, guys, for Fog Wrestling. Until next time, peace.